Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're talking about a story that is completely flipping the history of modern warfare on its head. Picture this, a multi-ton armored vehicle worth millions of dollars, meticulously designed with advanced Western engineering to protect troops from minefields and a hail of bullets. But suddenly, all that dominance is challenged and crushed by small flying objects made of plastic and cheap circuit boards. That's right, I'm talking about how suicide drones or loitering munitions are becoming the silent executioners on the battlefields of Ukraine. Today, we're going to look at one of the most fascinating case studies, the clash between the Canadian heavy-duty armored vehicle known as the Super Bison and swarms of Russian kamikaze drones. Before we dive into the clashes, let's get to know this beast of a vehicle. The Super Bison, officially named the LAV II ACSV, which stands for Armored Combat Support Vehicle, isn't just a regular armor upgrade. It is the product of bloody lessons learned by NATO forces during the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. Back then, the main threat was improvised explosive devices, or IEDs, hidden underground. This led the Canadian company General Dynamics Land Systems to completely overhaul their designs. The core of the Super Bison's toughness lies in a design called the double V hull. This V-shaped structure is a brilliant engineering principle designed to deflect blast energy. When the vehicle hits a mine, instead of the massive shockwave blasting straight up into the crew cabin, the V-shape cuts through and disperses the explosive force out to both sides. This drastically reduces the destructive energy. Combined with ceramic and composite armor plating all around, the Super Bison is highly praised as one of the safest 8x8 wheeled armored vehicles for modern infantry. Originally, Canada ordered these exclusively for their own military, but as the situation in Ukraine reached a crisis point, the Canadian government decided to pull 39 vehicles straight from the production line and ship them across the continent to plug the holes on the Ukrainian frontline. However, when this North American Iron Bull arrived on the open plains of Eastern Europe, what it faced wasn't just landmines like the engineers had predicted. The war in Ukraine has evolved far beyond that. The frontline skies aren't dominated by expensive fighter jets. They are covered in swarms of small drones buzzing around almost constantly. And this is the turning point that made the Super Bison's thickest armor its biggest target. Drones like the Russian Lancet or even modified FPV drones controlled with video goggles have completely rewritten the rules of engagement. These drones don't attack the front or the underbelly where the armor is thickest. Instead, they loiter, swoop down, and crash directly into the roof of the vehicle, which is the most vulnerable spot on any military vehicle on the planet. The true terror of FPV drones in Ukraine is that they operate in a networked system known as a hunter-killer team. The tactic involves sending reconnaissance drones high up to scan for targets. Once they spot a moving armored vehicle like the Super Bison, they relay the real-time coordinates back to base. Then, an FPV drone rigged with an armor-piercing warhead is launched to play executioner. The terrifying part is that the drone operator can specifically target the weakest points, whether it's the engine's exhaust vents, the ammo storage, or even the exact moment the rear doors open to deploy infantry into battle. Surgical strikes like this render the thickest armor useless in the blink of an eye. As overhead attack technology advances rapidly, it brings us to the most critical question in military strategy and budgeting: the cost of survivability. Think about it. Western nations pour massive budgets into researching and developing a single armored vehicle to survive massive explosions, only to lose those same vehicles to incredibly cheap drones. This mismatched exchange is forcing military leaders worldwide to completely rethink their strategies. Are we investing in the wrong areas in an era where cheap weapons can effortlessly destroy expensive ones? To give you a clear picture of the specs and the immense value difference, I've compiled some in-depth data on this project. Let's take a look at this specification breakdown. From the table, you can see the powerful specs and some pretty staggering numbers. A single Super Bison is estimated to cost around $5 million, and the deal where Canada sent 39 of them amounts to over $195 million. That is a massive amount of taxpayer money turned into steel armor to save soldiers' lives. But would you believe that the ultimate enemy capable of stopping this multi-million-dollar vehicle dead in its tracks is a regular radio-controlled FPV drone strapped with a warhead? These drones cost on average about $6,000 each. You heard that right. A weapon costing barely $6,000 can effortlessly take down a $5 million armored vehicle. This is the most terrifying economic disparity in modern warfare. Another major point we have to discuss when diving into military engineering is the logistical nightmare. High-performance armored vehicles like the Super Bison come with complex mechanical systems. They rely on specialized parts, highly trained mechanics, and massive amounts of fuel. If the vehicle breaks down in a field or catches shrapnel that blows a tire, it instantly becomes a 13-ton sitting duck. On the flip side, the forces using suicide drones have almost none of this burden. FPV drones can be assembled in small makeshift shelters near the front line. Many parts can be instantly reprinted using 3D printers, and just 1 or 2 infantrymen can carry dozens of drones in their backpacks. This night and day difference in mobility further highlights the glaring weaknesses of heavy military hardware in today's conflicts. Based on the latest updates from the actual battlefield, along with in-depth data from war observers like the Oryx website, which catalogs photographic evidence of equipment losses, there are confirmed reports of Super Bisons being destroyed in Ukraine. Several units have been wiped out by kamikaze drone swarms, exactly as analysts feared. These incidents validate the theory that the strongest armor on the ground doesn't necessarily mean you can withstand targeted, weak-point attacks from the air. However, this tense situation doesn't mean the Ukrainian army is throwing in the towel. We are now seeing heavy adaptations on the front line. Field engineers are brainstorming ways to increase the Super Bison's survivability. They're welding steel bars to create cope cages over the top of the vehicle, hoping this first layer of defense will trigger the drone's explosive before it actually hits the main hull. Furthermore, there's a push to install localized electronic warfare, or EW systems, right on the vehicles to jam radio signals and sever the pilot's control before the drone gets too close. Because of this, the big question is, where does the future of Western armored vehicles go from here? Many defense experts believe that just adding thicker steel armor is no longer the answer. It adds massive weight and sacrifices mobility. The new direction we're likely to see is the development of next-level active protection systems. Next-generation armored vehicles might need to be equipped with 360-degree drone detection radars, coupled with high-energy laser systems to shoot drones out of the sky before they get close. But that just brings us right back to the original loop. These advanced systems will drive the price of armored vehicles even higher. It's spending massive amounts of money to solve a cheap weapon problem, a puzzle that military strategists will be having headaches over for a long time. All of this is a reflection of the struggle between traditional Western engineering and modern warfare tactics utilizing cheap tech. The Super Bison has done its absolute best in protecting soldiers from ground explosions, but it serves as a stark reminder that in the world of modern combat, no armor is invincible. Learning, adapting, and finding cost-effective innovations are the true keys that will determine the ultimate winner. So what do you guys think about our deep dive into the Super Bison and suicide drones today? What are your thoughts on the direction of future weapon manufacturing? Do you think we should stop building massive armored vehicles and pivot to developing cheap drone swarms instead? Or is heavy armor still a necessity? Let's discuss it in the comments down below. If you enjoy this kind of in-depth military analysis, please hit that like button, share the video, and make sure to subscribe to our channel. That's all for today. I'll see you guys in the next one.